Over all the years that you've been in the industry, there have to be a couple memorable moments that you can probably reflect on, things that just make you get up in the morning and just smile. Can you share any of those with us today?
Oh, golly, you can't narrow it down to a couple.
Hard-working people live round here, ain't got much to willing to share.
Bill, it is an absolute pleasure. My parents grew up in Nashville, and I've heard stories and I've heard your voice for my whole lifetime, probably since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. What keeps you going every day?
I think just the fact that there's a fire that somebody lit down in my belly 150 years ago, and it's never gone out. I still wake up every morning. I feel like my glass is half full and not half empty, and I still love what I do, and I feel so blessed to have been able to do it for as long as I have.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The voice, they used to call you Whispering Bill. Do they still call you Whispering Bill?
They call me that and a lot worse things.
Over all the years that you've been in the industry, there have to be a couple memorable moments that you can probably reflect on, things that just make you get up in the morning and just smile. Can you share any of those with us today?
Oh, golly, you can't narrow it down to a couple. You know, there's so many. This building where we are at the Grand Ole Opry House, the nights that I would go on stage and Mr. Roy Acuff would come out and sing a song with me. He would never go on stage, though, unless we rehearsed. And this room where we are sitting right now was my dressing room, and Mr. Acuff would come into this room, and he'd say, "Oh, we've done the song 100 times, but we had to rehearse it every single time." And I learned so much from that, because here's the consummate professional, the man who didn't need to rehearse anything, but he wanted to rehearse. And that taught me a lesson. I've learned so many lessons from so many people that came before me, and even contemporaries of mine. You know, it's still an education. I learn something new every day.
That's amazing. So I read that you have written songs that have been covered by Dean Martin. More recently, Kenny Chesney. What are the songs that you've written, that you've worked with, that stand out the most to you, the ones that pull at your heartstrings?
Oh, golly. You know, you're talking to a guy that's written, 3,000 or 4,000 songs, threw most of them in the trash can, but a few of them have made it out. Golly, I don't know. You know, you tend to sometimes be judged by the songs that were the biggest hits, but you talk to writers, people that create the songs, their favorites are not necessarily the ones that were the biggest hits with the public. There's always that little song that you think, wow, I just poured my heart and soul into this, and nobody understood it or nobody wanted to hear it, but it's still very special to you. I got a bunch of those, but you take songs of mine like Still and Tips of My Fingers and Once a Day and things that Whiskey Lullaby, Give It Away, some of the newer things like that. And those are the ones that you identify with, and people identify you with those songs.
Are you still writing songs today?
Every chance I get.
I love it. I love it. That's impressive. Any word of wisdom on how to stay longevity? How do we stay relevant like you have for so long?
Well, I think a lot of it is in your attitude. I really do. I think if you wake up and say, gee, I'm an old-timer and nobody's got room for me anymore, you're going to be defeated before you start. But you wake up and say, hey, Lord, thanks for this day. Let's see what we can accomplish together, and approach it like that. And it's not work. I've never worked a day in my life because I have loved what I have done for all of these years.
That is incredible. Bill, thank you. It's been a pleasure. It was so great meeting you.
Hard-working people live round here, ain't got much to willing to share. Sunday school, church, and the county.